がここにいるうちの本物のスクールスポーツのために行こうぜベイビーバンとの国は気をつけて、現実になることがありますからね。
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue the long-standing tradition of covering Japanese boxing here on True School Sports. True School Sports, the number one source of Japanese boxing in America from an American. And listen, guys, this is a contender review for a fighter from Japan that I've been waiting to talk about for a long time. And not only is this fighter relevant to Japanese boxing, he's relevant to American boxing. He's relevant to boxing on the world stage because unlike a lot of Japanese fighters, he competes in a division that has a lot of American opponents. So this is a fighter that I believe down the line will be involved in a notable fight against an American at some point in his career. And that fighter is none other than the number one lightweight in all of Japan, the current WBO Asia Pacific champion and OBPF lightweight champion of the world. That is none other than Shu Utsuki. So let's talk about Shu Utsuki because I actually had a chance to watch Shu Utsuki fight one time back during my last trip to Japan. Funny enough, too, before I even get into Shu Utsuki as a fighter, I'll tell you guys a story because I remember I was supposed to go to his fight with Katsuya Yasuda in November of 2024. And that fight actually wound up being one of the best fights of 2024. I didn't go because my dumbass went to this lounge in Shinjuku and I blew like $500 just having fun, talking to women, having fun with women and stuff like that, drinking and stuff like that, stuff I don't normally do, right? I had a lot of fun. So I didn't get a chance to watch that fight, but I'll never forget that fight because I missed that fight because I went crazy one night in Shinjuku. But that is neither here nor there. I'm just saying this to say that Shu Utsuki is part of the True School Sports Japanese boxing coverage lore, whether indirectly or directly. So let's get that established. But let's talk about him because this is a fighter that he's been in some really important fights in terms of domestically in Japan. I mentioned the Katsuya Yasuda fight. He was actually an underdog going into that fight, a slight underdog at plus 114. He won that fight by stopping Katsuya Yasuda in the sixth round. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he got knocked out of that fight, had to get up off the canvas. So that was a great win for him. Masahiro Suzuki, he fought him on a couple of occasions and stopped him on multiple occasions. So, and Masahiro Suzuki, if it wasn't for Masahiro Suzuki, I feel like Shu Utsuki, if it wasn't for Shu Utsuki, I feel like Masahiro Suzuki would probably be higher than he is because his only two losses are to Shu Utsuki. He can really punch. I like him a lot as a fighter, but that's neither here nor there. As far as Utsugi, the fighter, right? He's a good body. He's a good body puncher, right? Squares up a lot. He squares up a lot, which I think could be very problematic for him when he fights someone who's a sharper puncher down the middle, who has good footwork, who could pivot. He drops his left hand a lot, which is why I feel like he was dropped in round 4 of the Katsuya Yasuda fight. He got caught dropping his hand and he got clipped. But he has what a lot of Japanese fighters have. He throws that really nice jab. He's got a very solid fundamental base. He throws a good 1-2 down the middle like a lot of Japanese fighters tend to do. But I would probably say his best punch, from what I've seen, he throws a really nice. He's got a good straight right hand, but I like more so his chopping right hand when he chops down with it. When he throws the jab, it maybe gets the fighter to duck a little bit, and then he chops down with the right hand. To me, that's his best punch. And I think probably like the best quality I can see from him is his killer instinct. I feel like he's got killer instinct. He understands he can box. He's got good fundamentals, but what Shu Utsuki seems to understand is, okay, he knows when to step on the gas and he knows when it's time to pack these guys up and get them out of here. 14 knockouts and 17 fights, and he's fought live bodies, good competition, guys that came to win. Even on a smaller scale, he fought Izuki Tomioka, who Izuki Tomioka is a better fighter than his record would indicate. He's been put in very, very tough, and he's never really quite gotten over the hump against the names on his resume, but he fought Shu Utsugi very tough. He fought Homura Fujita very tough. He fought Hiroki Okada very tough. He fought Yoshino. If you go and look at all of Izuki Tomioka's losses, right? And I just interviewed him recently on True School Sports. I recently learned who he was, but I did my homework, right? all of his fights, go look at the scorecards. They're like he's down by a point, 2 points, 1 point. And some of those guys that he lost to went on to become, world level guys or fringe world level guys. Even with like Masayoshi Nakatani, that was a close fight. He became a world level guy. A lot of us in the States know who Masayoshi Nakatani is because he fought Teofimo Lopez and he fought Felix Verdejo. So, he by Shu Utsuki knocking out Tomioka, that right there will show you, that would tell you that, he's a good fighter, right? He's a good fighter who's fought live competition and guys that came to win, that didn't come to lay down. So I think when he does get to the world level, obviously we'll see because, Japanese, a lot of Japanese fighters fight very similar, and we'll see how he deals with different looks. Right now as it stands, Utsuki is ranked in all 4 sanctioning bodies. His highest ranking right now is actually the WBC. So, if he goes the WBC route, you're talking about Shu Utsuki at number 7. He's got guys ranked above him like Raul Valenzuela, Maxie Hughes, Jadi Herrera, William Zepeda, Ricardo Nunez, Andy Cruz. These are the kind of guys he's going to have to fight as a contender to get that shot at the title. If not that, he's number 11 in the WBA, number 13 in the WBO, and he's ranked. He's ranked everywhere. So this is a guy that is going to be in a relevant fight in the not so distant future. Now, for me, if I have it my way, the fights I would like to see for him, in chronological order, I would say Lucas Body to me, I think makes a lot of sense. I think the Lucas Body fight is a winnable fight for Shu Utsugi. Body can punch, but I think Utsugi has the punch selection, the straight punches, and the killer instinct to actually fight fire with fire and get Body out of there if they fought. I think that'd be a really entertaining fight for the boxing fans. Jadi Herrera, that'd be a really good fight. Jadi Herrera is a guy that was named as a potential replacement opponent for Floyd Schofield when Shakur Stevenson eventually fought Josh Padley. A lot of people wanted to see Shakur fight Jadi Herrera. I wouldn't mind seeing Jadi Herrera against Shu Utsugi because I feel like those are 2 really good punchers. You got a southpaw aggressive puncher versus an orthodox aggressive puncher. They both got a lot to prove. I like that fight a lot. Obviously, you got Andy Cruz, who I think is at a higher level. He gets beat the brakes off of a Japanese fighter. I forgot his name right now, but his last fight, Andy Cruz beat up a Japanese fighter who wasn't as good as Shu Utsugi. He's probably looking at bigger and better fights. I don't think that happens. And then maybe Floyd Schofield, if he can't get a big fight, I wouldn't mind that fight. But for me, the two fights I look at as a very realistic possibility as fights that would elevate Shu Utsugi in the rankings would definitely be Lucas Body and Jadi Herrera. Those are 2 winnable fights. Those are 2 very doable fights. Those are guys that don't have big promotional. Bubadi has MVP promotions, but I'm saying those are not the biggest names in the division. I feel like those are very makeable fights, and equally, I feel like they're both very winnable fights. I think with Jadi Herrera, he hasn't fought anybody with the killer instinct of a guy like Shu Utsugi, and I think Lucas Body will definitely be the biggest. I don't know, would he be the biggest puncher? Because there's punchers in Japan like Masahiro Suzuki can punch. I would say. Yeah, just based off of him knocking out Ashton Silva at a higher level, I would say he's the biggest puncher. But Shu Utsugi's been in there puncher, so I feel like he could deal with Body. So for me, when I talk about the fighters from Japan above featherweight, because we know that Japanese people aren't very big in terms of height and frame, so it's not there's not as many fighters above the featherweight limit. You don't see as many Japanese fighters at 130 pounds or 140 pounds or 147 pounds or 154 pounds. So when you do, and they get in the rankings, I find it interesting to see how they can compete. Now, recently, the fighters above featherweight in Japan haven't been doing too well. You've had the guy that just Masanori Rikishi just lose to Eduardo Sugar Nunez for the title, for the IBF title. You had Jin Tazaki fight Brian Loman Jr. He got beat up. He lost against Brian Loman at 147. So the Japanese fighters haven't been doing the best above featherweight as of late. I think Shu Utsugi probably would be the best bet for Japanese fighters. If you're looking at a guy who can make some noise in a higher weight category, this is a guy that I think has a chance. Just gotta clean up his hand positioning a little bit more, but other than that, I think he's got everything else. He's pretty good. So yeah, leave your comments down below. What do you guys think about Shu Utsugi? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.